Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you've been here before and have decided to return, thank you so much for coming back. I have tried to film this video a lot of times. You can see the sweat has formulated on my glass of sparkling water and the ice cubes have melted. I have filmed this many times because what keeps happening is I knew what I wanted to discuss. I knew why I wanted to discuss it today. There's so much that I already know the information on. But every time I would try to film, it was like, oh, get this. Oh, go get that because you can show this. So I don't know. This is like time number 6 or 7. So let's hope we get through it. Tonight, I want to talk to you about a very special spirit that I have the utmost reverence. Ooh, got a little emotional there. And deep appreciation for. So grab something to drink. If you want to pause here and grab something to drink, we might be here a minute. Also, before I get into this, let me give trigger warnings. The spirit that I'm going to talk about is a spirit of righteous anger, retribution, and patroness of those who have been unfairly or horribly victimized, most particularly women and children. So if any of that kind of subject matter that surrounds any of those kinds of topics is something that, though you may be drawn to wanting to learn about this spirit, but hearing about certain topics like that, if that's something that would be triggering for you, let me advise you now, this is not the video for you, because I will be speaking on some very specific things, in some things that will be graphic detail, because it is an important part of knowing who the spirit is and what she's about. So if there's anything that so far sounds like perhaps this is not the video for you, or the time at this point in your practice or in this point in your journey, your life, trigger warning. Maybe you should turn the video off now. So the spirit we're going to talk about tonight is Urzali Danto, and I love this woman. And I decided to do the video. I feel like maybe she's called me to do the video. And tonight is Tuesday night. And it just so happens that it's Tuesday, June 25th, but the June 25th part doesn't mean anything. It is the fact that it is a Tuesday. Tuesday is her sacred day. But before I get into that, let's go a little further back to a little bit more of a beginning place. Urzali Danto, in the Haitian voodoo tradition, she is one of the Haitian spirits. So Haitian voodoo is a part of the bigger, wider heading that is ATRs, African traditional religions. So as enslaved people were brought to different areas, they brought their spirits with them. New religions emerged from the original religions that would have been practiced in Africa, TLDR version. As these spirits from Africa are brought to Haiti, now that is the emergence of Haitian voodoo, which is different than Santeria, New Orleans voodoo, Candomblé, Palomayombe. There's a lot of different religions that come under voodoo. Haitian voodoo has its own grouping of spirits that are called the Lwa. Now you might see that word spelled in different ways, and it's because Haitian patois, Haitian Creole, is very phonetic. So it's written the way that it sounds, and it's very much derived from French, very, very French, but because it's a patois, it's a blending of other languages in there, but heavily predicated upon French language. So when you see the word Lwa, and you might hear people say the Loa, that's not the correct pronunciation. They're getting that from the spelling. So you might see the spelling L-O-A. To an English speaker, I could see that looks like Loa. You might see it L-W-A, L''W-A, but it is pronounced Haitian Lwa. And she is one of the Lwa. And then within that, you have different nations. She is part of the Petwo nation. Think subcategories. And she is one of the Petwo spirits. And the Petwo spirits are very, very hot, intense spirits. Beautiful, but very intense spirits. There's a lot of heat associated with them. And when they come in ceremony, there's different segment to Haitian ceremony, a fete, a Haitian party fete, where the Lwa, when it's their time to come in, it's very hot spirits, very intense. So she is a Haitian spirit, Lwa, Petwo nation, and Urzali is its own grouping of spirits. So you might see different things on the internet where you see Urzali, and if you go looking on the internet, just be careful because there's so much information that people just see the name Urzali and they associate it with, oh, well, it's got to be all the same thing. They're very different spirits that come under that mini umbrella of Urzali. And think of Urzali almost like a surname, a last name, the Urzalis. And then there's different spirits. So there's Urzali Fueda, Urzali Danto, Urzali Mapillon, Urzali Rouge. There's a lot of different Urzalis. And some of them are somewhat similar. Some of them are vastly different. So be advised, there's certain Urzali that most people talk about, and most people want to know, and most people want to work with her energy. And they kind of group all the Urzalis under that one Urzali, who is Urzali Fueda. Wonderful, beautiful spirit that I love. Tonight is not her night. It's her sister's night. Tuesday is Urzali Danto's day. And they are sisters. They are not friends. So they are served very differently, different colors, different associations, different reasons why you would go to them. They're very, very different and are to be respected and treated very differently. So Urzali Danto, let's talk about her origin story. Some people think that she was an actual living person. Some origin stories say that Danto was almost like a tulpa, an amalgamation of different energies, literally the blood spilled that led to and was shed as a result of the Haitian Revolution. And that spilled blood, that life force lost, then was a collection of energy that then became the sentient being that is Danto. Whatever it is, whatever thing is true, maybe both things are simultaneously true. She is a very real, living, beautiful energy. So let's break that down. Danto, as far as the origin story of the shed blood, we understand that. But Danto, who was an actual person, some people believe that she was a young girl who was abducted by French soldiers. So the French have come, they've colonized the island. Now we know half of it is Haiti, half of it is Dominican Republic in current day, but it used to be called Saint-Domingue. Before enslaved Africans were brought there, that land belonged to the native people. So you had the Taino and the Arawak native people to that island. So the French come, they colonize and take over the island. So now there is the killing of the native people, the taking of their land and their resources. There's already shed blood. As enslaved Africans are brought, there is more shed blood. The young girl, it is said that she was a spy and that she was going to warn people about a certain battle or uprising that was about to happen, and that she had been collecting information. The French soldiers abducted her and tortured her horrifically. It said that she was horribly beaten, that she was horribly sexually assaulted and raped, and she didn't give the information. Again, did she just not give the information because she was holding out the secrets to keep people safe? Did she not give the information because she was not a spy and this was not true? Either way, we still have this extreme level of violence and abuse and torture. And she was definitely tortured in addition to the sexual trauma. Her tongue was cut out of her head and then her body was lit on fire. Petro spirits are very hot, intense spirits. After this happened, it said that that was the turning point that led from people experiencing the atrocities that they had been victim to now shifting and finding empowerment that they just didn't have until that horrible thing occurred. And now the Haitian Revolution is being planned. So people would gather and go up into the mountains, and it's beautiful but very treacherous terrain. And unless you know how to navigate and get through those mountains, and even people who do, it is extremely dangerous. And people would gather and go there. Well, the French soldiers didn't know how to navigate and get through. They couldn't make it up through the mountains. They couldn't survive. So people were gathering in secret, and they were plotting the Haitian Revolution. And women were an integral part of this. Why? Think of them as the sleeper cells. Because they're just docile, feeble-minded creatures. Women, what could they possibly do? Women were gathering intel, and now they were acting as spies. They were gathering information. And because the dehumanization of people who were of African or Native descent added to, they were women, what could they possibly do? What could they possibly know? They're not really even human. They don't have any kind of intelligence or intellect. So women were gathering information. And even women who were perhaps by nature more reserved or docile personalities, even they started to get very, very hot-blooded, very hot-tempered. And they were a massive part of turning the tide in the Haitian Revolution of beating Napoleon's soldiers. So when you think about all of that story, and again, whether it was because of the young girl was a real person or just all of the energy that was the violence of and the brutalization of human beings through war, That is what the spirit of Urzali Danto is about. She's the personification of all of that energy. So each of the Lwa have a certain day, a certain number, a certain color or colors that are associated with them, and certain departments, if you will, certain reasons why you would petition and go to them. And it's said that the sentience that is this beautiful spirit, Urzali Danto, is what ultimately led to the Haitian Revolution occurring and people winning their independence from the country, France. So Danto's sacred number is 3. Her sacred day is Tuesday. And again, if you needed to petition her on a Saturday afternoon, by all means. It's just that each one of the spirits is given a day that is their sacred day. Her colors are red is her primary color. But we like to keep Danto cool sometimes. So some houses will serve her with red and blue. Some houses, like the house I'm in, we serve her with red and green, but those cooler colors. She is a mother. She is extremely loving, but she's not docile. She's not feeble. She is not posh. She is not wealthy. She is for the disenfranchised. She is the disenfranchised. She is the spirit of the peasants, of the enslaved, of those who feel marginalized, unloved, unwanted, downtrodden. Any kind of violence, victims / survivors of violent crime, domestic violence and abuse, single moms, children who are mistreated or unloved or unwanted, abandoned, orphaned. And anyone who fights on the rights of, on behalf of those people would come under Danto's protection, like a social worker, police or military who are truly fighting on the side of justice and fairness. Hold on, I had a point I was going to make. Crime. It'll come to me. So, as you can see, she doesn't have time to be docile. She's the mom who's like, I have a baby on my hip, a pot of beans on the stove. I have a household to take care of, children who are mine, children who aren't mine, but they are mine now. If I have to stop what I'm doing to care for those in need, you're going to get from that maternal side to absolute warrior, righteous anger, hot-blooded, spirit. So the anger, the rage, all of those things are those emotions and those experiences that led to those emotions are very much part of Danto's energy. And so when we come to her, any of those emotions that we need to express when conveying our experiences and petitioning her for help, it's completely appropriate. This is the time, if you want to, if you were working with Danto, to scream, to cry, LGBTQIA community, that's the point that I lost. Anyone who comes under that umbrella, they are under Danto's protection. So she's not a quiet woman. She's not a docile woman. She's not a feeble woman. She's a mom, but she's very tough love mom, I do find. She is very big on personal accountability. Not in any way to victim blame or victim shame at all, but in acknowledgement and being honest and having that integrity with ourselves, so that when we come to her to ask her for help, we are coming to her from a place of honesty and integrity. Do not come to this woman unless you are going to tell her the truth of a situation in the story. She's going to find out. Don't come to her if you are not ready to make perhaps some tough choices and decisions. Again, no victim shaming or victim blaming. But if you're in a horrible domestic nightmare of a situation where there's violence, and this can be verbal, mental, psychological, don't wait for it to get physical. Any violence is violence. Any maltreatment is maltreatment. Now, she's not the spirit to go to of, oh, we had an argument, or, oh, he looked at me funny, or, oh, I'm so mad at him because he spent the rent money on gambling. Did he spend the rent money on gambling and you gave him money to go gamble? So you see what I'm saying? She is when you are at that point of, I am absolutely enraged and or terrified, but I have got to find the courage to stand up for myself, to stand up for what's right, and to fight. Anyone who has experienced the atrocities of war, Danto's energy, you would petition her. So how would you work with her? How would you petition her? Some things that are very special and sacred to her. Candles. Candle magic is very, very big part of voodoo, lighting candles. Now, those of us in the religion, you might know how to set a lamp, which is an oil lamp. But again, because you're looking at different spirits, the lamp and the things that would go into a lamp for Danto are going to be very different than for some of her sisters. When she comes down in spirit, Danto, not always, oftentimes comes in screaming with the rage of 1,000 fiery suns. Who did it? She is on the warpath. If you were to work with this spirit, first and foremost, have a care, have personal accountability, and be very, very reverent and respectful. Ask her if she will pick up the work. Now, oftentimes, if you're going to Danto, it's an extreme situation, so she's probably going to pick up the work. Reasons why she wouldn't pick up the work: because you're not really ready to leave. I've seen her not pick up work that doesn't make any logical sense, only to find out later on, oh, so you went to the police, you made a statement, you've gotten the PFA, they've made it clear that this person cannot come within X number of feet from you, and then they call you on the phone and you let them in the house and you let them stay overnight. She's when you are ready. And it may be petitioning her, help me to get ready. I'm so sick and tired of being sick and tired, but I'm terrified. So it may be calling upon her to help her to get ready. But be cautious. I tell people, if you're going to work with Danto and you're experiencing any of these kinds of situations, anything that has to do with any spirituality, we also have to take care of the mundane and the basic human experience. Did you change your phone number? Did you block them? Did you block them from your email? Have you told people so that you're not being isolated? Have you gone to the police? Have you told that person clearly, leave me alone? One of the basic things of voodoo is also the very mundane, practical of the human experience. So she's going to want to know, did you do those things? If you do call on this woman, don't give her any ideas. She will do what she feels is appropriate to assist and to keep you safe. Don't tell her how to do her job. I want this to happen to them and that I want that to happen to them. Some things within reason. If they deserve to go to jail, let justice prevail. If they need to be now, instead of the predator, feel the intimidation or the fear of to back off, those are very appropriate things. Helping you to come up with a clever plot or plan to escape and to get safe, helping you to have the money and the resources to be able to leave. Many people stay in domestic situations because they don't have any family, they don't have loved ones. Now they're terrified, they've been isolated, they don't have control of their money. All of these kinds of things she can assist you with, because again, she plotted an entire revolution that beat Napoleon's army. Outgunned, technological weapons. So she is excellent at strategizing. Am I going to win the battle? And more importantly, how am I going to win this war? Or is there a way for me to just remove myself from the situation and not necessarily have to fight? Although with Danto, usually it's a fight. And sometimes it's that inner battle, it's that inner fight of wanting to give in because we've been trained and conditioned to be harnessed by the fear. So she helps us to take that fear and to use it as fuel. So when she comes in spirit and she's so angry, she is so angry oftentimes because the rage of the injustice of people, she's taking all of that energy in. So if you wanted to work with her, keep it simple maybe. A white tea light and a glass of water. Perfect. Now if you wanted to work and bring in colors, and in the beginning, just have a conversation. Ask her, will you help me? Maybe put a few silver coins. She tends to like silver, not gold. Put a few silver coins there. Help me to get the money. I'm paying my way with what I have. Help me to get the money and resources, the financial resources I need in order to escape this situation. You could use a tea light. You could use a white tea light. Use a red tea light because her colors are red, blue, and green. You could use chime candles. Again, these are her colors. Now, honestly, this silver, it's an option because she does like silver coins, but she's not super fancy. But your red or your blue, keeping one of the cool colors with her to keep her from completely losing her temper. If it's an absolute emergency situation, then light her up in red. Danto likes tobacco. She's more of an unfiltered Lucky Strikes kind of a lady. Menthol cigarettes would be fine for Danto. Cigars would be good for Danto. Liquor, you could give her rum, give her a shot of rum. You could give her some Fireball, this mini Fireball I have. What you're doing is, imagine you're meeting, when you're working with the spirits, and it doesn't matter if it's Haitian Lwa, if it's the Norse gods, you go in respectfully and you're asking them to assist you. Especially with spirits and ATRs, they may not pick up the work. So you're asking them and then you're giving them the information as to why you'd like their help and pleading your case, basically, giving the information so that they can make a determination. You can also use 7-day candles. A white 7-day candle is perfectly fine. And you have to remember, voodoo was practiced by people who had to do a lot of things and be very clever and practice things in secrecy. So why do you have a candle lit? I'm just saying a prayer. Now, she's syncretized with different Catholic spirits. And again, why? Because people had to practice in secret. So as Catholicism was imposed upon people, they had to find Catholic saints that just lined up with the different spirit that they may have been petitioning. So Saint Martha the Dominator, and this is a candle that I have for Saint Martha, where she's standing on the serpent on the dragon. She has the torch lit. And we have, again, the red and green of this woman who is standing, defeating the enemy with the utmost. Look at that face. That face says, I wish you would try to get up. So the utmost confidence and power. So you could use a 7-day candle for that. Herbs that are appropriate to Danto are cinnamon, back to the fireball. So you could use cinnamon sticks, powder. Vetiver is sacred to Danto. Coffee, she loves coffee. So strong black coffee, really, really strong coffee. No sugar, no cream. She is a no-nonsense woman. I've got stuff to do, chop, chop. Hot, spicy food. The hotter and spicier, the better. So hot sauce all the way up to ghost peppers. Pork, she loves pork. And there's a dish called glio, which is pork that's fried really hard, seasoned beautifully. Sometimes we put a little lime on top of it to bring out the flavors, but pork. Plantains. So you can use the fried plantains with her as an offering. These things would be more things that you would do more to say thank you or a special occasion, to get her attention and to just have a conversation, light a candle and a glass of water. Introduce yourself and initiate the conversation that way. Flowers for her, she's not a frilly, fancy woman, but she does like red roses, the red, and also roses have thorns. And what are thorns if not baby daggers, which is another thing that is very sacred to her. Knives. Danto does not like, for the most part, Danto's not really a fan of men, except for the ones that she chooses, meaning that they are men that are worthy of her respect, who treat her with respect. So she is married. Her husband, Papa Ogu, is a soldier and a warrior. Now, Ogu carries a machete, whereas Danto is like, I want this to be much more up close and personal. She carries a dagger. She always has something hidden money, hidden food, hidden escape plan, hidden knives. And that's what women in the revolution were doing. They were finding silverware and making shivs, or finding pieces of wood, pieces of metal, filing them down to be able to hide the shivs, hide the knives in their skirts, in their bra, their corset, they would hide them. And so Danto's knife is always hidden. And if Danto's knife, you see it, it is usually a very bad set of circumstances that's about to happen for you. Again, don't give this woman ideas on what justice you think should happen in extreme ways. She is a spirit. We are physical beings, and we don't want to deal with the fallout of choices made in rage. So again, voodoo being something that's practiced in secret, perhaps you're in an environment where you have roommates or a spouse, especially if you're trying to leave an abusive situation. You could just have your candle and maybe a pair of scissors that's just right next to it. Danto likes blades. Well, what are scissors except for a blade? You could have scissors with red or blue or green that energy is, that color is calling in her energy. And now you've got blades. I know someone who has a cigar cutter on their space for Danto. Again, she's tactical. She's thinking, how do I have what I need that might not be something I want the world to know in less obvious ways? The hidden blade of sewing scissors, the hidden blade of a razor, it still represents, of the cigar cutter. Florida water is a non-negotiable. We have, when she comes around, there are already cases present, and when she comes around, there is Florida water everywhere. It is something that is used for spiritual cleansing. Most all the spirits we use Florida water. I can't think of anybody who we don't use Florida water for, but definitely when Danto comes down, we have boxes and boxes of Florida water. Now she also has her own perfume that I do have here. She also has her own perfume that is called Rev d'Or. And this is just a mini bottle of it that I have, and we do carry it at the shop where I work. I did see where Rev d'Or is now on Amazon. It's equal parts disturbing as it is convenient. You can order Rev d'Or. I've never ordered, I'll be honest, I've never ordered it personally on Amazon. I have no reason to think it's not the real thing because I have ordered Florida water through Amazon and it is definitely the real thing. But Rev d'Or was one of the many different spiritual colognes that we have in Voodoo. This was originally used, like Florida water, as an aftershave. Rev d'Or particularly was used in Turkey and Morocco, if I'm not mistaken, as an aftershave, a cologne for both men or women. It is something that became very sacred to Ursula Danto. So you could have Rev d'Or as a lovely thank you present. She's associated with different Catholic spirits, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, Our Lady of Czestochowa, which is a Polish saint. And there's a specific reason why she's syncretized with Our Lady of Czestochowa. As Napoleon was not doing so well, let's just say, TLDR version, and he needed to recruit soldiers. So he was promising Poland assistance, but he needed to get through this battle in Haiti that he was having his ass handed to him on. And so Polish people were brought over with the French to help the French fight the battle. The Polish soldiers were so disgusted and outraged by the level of extreme barbaric genocide that was happening. They all turned and sided with those fighting the revolution. And so for this reason, there is this tie of Polish and Haitian energies. And to this day, there's still a whole group of lineage of people whose ancestors were originally Polish and are now Polish and Haitian. And so I have some statues I want to show you guys. This is a statue that I got from my godmother's Botanica in New York. And so we have her with, you'll always see Danto with a child. You're always going to see her holding a child. Some people say there's different origin stories on this child. So you can see very Madonna and child energy like the Blessed Mother. And some people say that this child is her child. Some people say that this is her sister's child who had a child but didn't want to admit to because she is such a fine, posh lady. She would never have had premarital sex and had a child out of wedlock. And that she adopted this child. Some people say this child is Anais. You'll never find Danto, though, without a child. And again, her sacred number is 3. And this statue does not have the marks on her face, which is odd. Most oftentimes you're going to find 2 marks on Danto's face, and they say that because her number is 3, the 3rd is the wound in her heart that she carries. And you can see the different colors of her beautiful robes. We've got our red and our blue and our green. And as she holds her precious daughter. Then there is this gorgeous statue that I am very fortunate to have. Someone got this for me from Our Lady of Czestochowa Church in Pittsburgh, which I cannot believe. Well, I guess I wasn't in the religion at that time. So I was gonna say, I can't believe I didn't know about, but when I lived in Pittsburgh for 10 years, so I cannot wait to go back to visit some people and then to visit this church that I hear is absolutely beautiful. And there's a huge Polish population in Pittsburgh and Our Lady of Czestochowa. So this was a statue that someone got for me from Pittsburgh. And you can see the 2 marks on her face. And as she's always holding her heart and holding a child. And the angels around her with her beautiful crown. So the tarot portion. Danto comes up for me, and because I have developed and cultivated such a relationship with her, because I have a very personal story as to her saving me from making remarkably poor choices and giving me a very big wake-up call. And for that reason, I adore this woman, because this was at a time when I knew nothing about voodoo, didn't work with these spirits, still was under the misconception that voodoo was evil, wicked, and bad, and very specific visual and auditory experience that happened that I would not know until 7 years later, learning who the spirit was and seeing and why I heard what I heard, why I saw what I saw. And she got me out of a very bad relationship. And so she is actually the first Lwa that ever came to me. And I adore her. When she shows up in tarot, one of 2 cards. If I have both of them on the table, heads up. The Queen of Swords, again. A woman who is a no-nonsense, take-no-shit kind of a woman. Direct, does not suffer fools gladly, has a plan, has a backup plan and a contingency plan for that, who's extremely shrewd and clever. The Queen of Swords nurtures truth, ideas, plans, logistics. And we have her with her dagger here. The 3 of Swords. Again, the pain that's in her heart, the extreme, genuine, true psychological and emotional trauma that some people have to face. Going from victim to victor, going from being victimized and finding the courage to not be in the prison of the fear. Thinking past the isness of the painful circumstances and not staying stuck in victim mindset, victim mode. If the Tower comes on the table with any of these cards, and because I work with her, then I start to physically feel her. I start to have very physical, visceral reactions and let me know that she's around. One of them is I will get hot. I'm a person who tends to run cold. Like I'm the weirdo who has a sweater in the summertime because the air conditioning might be too cold when I go into a building. And I'll start getting hot. Sometimes I'll start sweating. Sometimes my throat will start hurting. Again, very Danto kinds of things. If I have the Tower on the table, it does not, well, if you're, we know what the Tower means. When you add that with Danto's energy, it does not get more intense of a situation and imperative that someone gets help and takes action post haste. because now this is an extreme situation. I've seen it for people come up, for people who are not in that situation, but if they do not take action, this is what it would lead to. So these are my primary cards. And these are my two additional support for Danto's energy. So if she comes up for you in a reading, it does not necessarily mean it is the spirit, the sentient being that is Ursula Danto. It very well may, but at least be aware of what she represents. And now you can kind of see, oh, is this what's coming up in my client's experience, that I need to give them some guidance about what this energy is about, and some actionable steps and some clarity that they need to have. Don't ignore the warning flags, the red signs. The red flags are the warning signs in someone's behavior. Does someone make you feel like you can't speak? Does someone take your voice? Does someone speak ugly to you? Does someone call you out of your name? That's verbal abuse. If you are interested in learning more about this beautiful woman, this book, Haitian Vodou, in the Haitian patois, Haitian Vodou by Mambo Chitatan. She is a priestess who is initiated in Haiti, and this is a wonderful resource. Very well thought out, very easy to read. And I love the fact that in the very beginning of the book, she goes into it with, before we get into what you think we're going to get into, and we will, we're going to start with indigenous spiritual traditions and cultural appropriation. So she starts it off with, here's how you can approach these spirits with, and this practice and this religion with reverence and respect. In my personal experience as a practitioner of 11 years now, the spirits call who they call. That's another TED Talk. What I'm saying is, I love how Mambo Chitatan, there she is. And you can see the blue and red, and she's all in blue. How she is very, in the very beginning, teaching about the Haitian Revolution and the things that I mentioned, and going into some more detail, paying respect to certain people, the historical figures, as well as spirits, to kind of help you to understand a little bit more about the people, the land itself, which is its own sentient being, and the culture. And she definitely has a portion where she speaks about Ursula Danto, and she does write down the phonetic way of pronouncing words. Oh, forgive me guys, I made it a whole video without my earbud popping off, and here it is. Because only professional, top-notch, high-quality production here. So she does have the phonetic spelling of the different spirits. And she does have a whole section on Ursula Danto. She is a single mother, a Haitian peasant who feeds mouths, who has mouths to feed, and is not going to wait for a man to handle things. Unlike her sister Freda, she has no need for frills, coquetry. She drinks creme de cacao, clairin, which is straight raw rum, and black coffee. She smokes a pipe and eats spicy food like Creole. Despite the sometimes initially harsh and sometimes terrifying appearance of Danto, Je rouge, her eyes will turn red. Her eyes sometimes bleed when she comes in spirit. Sometimes blood starts coming from her mouth. So she can be genuinely terrifying. But in spite, both in iconography and in possession, she is a deeply caring, strong, and fiercely dedicated Lwa to anyone that joins a voodoo house and will come to know and love her. Danto loves her children unconditionally and will fight for them to succeed and to help them in whatever they ask. She loves children in general and is a fierce guardian and protector. So, if you are called to work with this spirit, again, approach her with reverence and the utmost respect. Get to know her. And if she comes up in readings, perhaps this information that I shared with you tonight can help you to spot some things that might not be outwardly obvious in a tarot reading, but you can start to at least know where perhaps directing the line of questioning might be appropriate or beneficial for your clients. So thank you so much. I hope that this video finds you well. I hope this information is useful. And again, this is Haitian Voodoo by Mambo Cheetah. You can find this on Amazon, I'm sure. And perhaps if there's a spiritual store where you live, it's oftentimes carried in many spiritual stores. But until the next video, sending you all the love. Until the next time.